Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you with some value to help you scale your business, become a better leader, and push yourself out of your comfort zone into something which is going to stretch you. We really hope you enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to like and share with your friends and network, which is only going to help us get a wider audience and improve our industry. I'm super excited to announce that in 2023, we're going to be announcing new partnerships, digital courses, some rebranding, and your opportunity to be coached by one of our many industry leaders, experts, or coaches. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clickenbeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm really excited to be joined by Chase Mullin with Mullin Landscape. Chase and I have known each other for probably now 5 or 6 years. And every time I see Chase at an event, whether it be Elevate or in Louisville or something, Chase is the only guy I know who consistently goes to the gym.
Knew that was coming.
And it's awesome because I think it's going to be actually we're going to talk about this on a topic today about taking care of yourself. And so Chase, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Robert. I told you this already, but I was really honored and excited when you invited me to join, and I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Well, thank you. So tell the audience, we've got audience from all around the world here. Tell a little bit about Chase Mullin and your background, how you got into the industry. So just spend the next 30 minutes on that background, please.
Perfect. I'll give everybody kind of the quick and dirty and true version of it. So, well, this ties in actually to how you introduced me as a guy in the gym. I guess at about 21 years old, I was going to University of New Orleans. 21 I was going to UNO. I was majoring in exercise physiology. I had no idea why I was in school other than I was supposed to be in school, right? That's like what my family kind of directed me to do, was to go to college and pursue this 4-year degree. And I didn't know what kind of career I wanted. I just knew that I liked working out. So I chose to major in exercise physiology. And I definitely had a lot of struggles in regard to like what I was going to do with that degree. So anyway, when Hurricane Katrina came and shut UNO down for a period of time, there was tons of work in New Orleans, construction work, flooded thousands and thousands of homes and destroyed their landscapes and businesses, et cetera, landscapes and businesses. And so anyway, kind of long story short, I transitioned from doing construction. I started off as a teenager, or probably younger than that, like cleaning up job sites and picking up trash. And, I slowly moved up the ranks for a couple of these home builders that I worked for during summers and spring breaks to where, eventually I was like, whatever, installing wood floors and running trim and painting. And I never really wanted a career in that. Just none of it really inspired me. And it wasn't like that school path that, I thought I needed to pursue. And so anyway, UNO shuts down, Hurricane Katrina. I go to work for this really small landscape company. It's kind of a too long of a story for the 2 or 3 minute block that I have here. But I realized pretty quickly that I was doing not just construction, but I was doing this kind of beautiful dynamic construction that really provided much more, in my opinion, instant gratification than something like wood floors, right? Like taking a house that was destroyed and we could spend 2 or 3 days and put this beautiful, vibrant new landscape in, and all of a sudden, the house had life again. And so anyway, I was really inspired by that. And I, being from here, I had connections and people asked me for side jobs, et cetera. And the place that I worked, my boss at the time was he was just an incredible human. And when I asked him if he was interested in any of these jobs, he told me no, that he wanted me to take them and do them on my own. And they'd be great, extra money or side hustle money, as we call it now, for me to make. And anyway, I started doing that. And I did get a little over the 3 minutes here, but I did some back of the napkin math as these side jobs I continued to compile, and I realized how much I enjoyed it. And I figured out that I really could make a career out of landscaping, still not really understanding the full breadth of the landscaping industry. But I kind of dove in head first. And man, over the course of the last 16 years, like I've learned so much. And, it was probably a year or two into business, it was this really small, like 2 trucks out of my driveway landscape contractor that I realized like how much opportunity there really is in this industry. And, I've kind of try to run with that and, take full advantage of the opportunity and also give back to the people that we work for and that work for us.
No, that's awesome. And I was lucky enough to obviously visit your facility. You've got a beautiful facility. You've got a great team. I mean, you've now built a tremendous company, with a ton of people. I see, your company's designs, some of the landscaping you put in, you've won awards. So where are you at now? I mean, you've now been in business for how long?
Since 2007. It's funny, I always have to like count that, but 16 years. I'm no longer like the young guy in business. People don't call me like Tiger in sport anymore.
So 16 years, and you don't have to give all the details, but I mean, either revenue or number of employees or number of trucks, just to give our audience what sort of size of company you built, because I mean, it's been tremendous success.
Sure. So last year we did right over 21.5 million in revenue.
Wow.
Will be this year peak. We're at about 180 employees right now. We're about 10 short. We still have another wave of H2Bs coming. So somewhere we'll kind of flirt with that 200 employee mark. So yeah, it's a lot bigger than, and I guess one of the cool things, one of our core values is stay humble, be hungry. And, going back to that, like humility, like I did, essentially everything at first. So we're a pretty far cry away from me out there, chaining shrubs to the back of my truck to pull them out.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we talked about just offline is that you've obviously you started off from pretty humble beginning. You've obviously grown to this massive company, and yes, you've obviously had that hustle, your hard work ethic, which is great, and it takes you to a certain level. But at a certain point, you're almost having to surround yourself by, advisors, peer groups, other experts in the industry, just to help you get through those different barriers. Because every company comes to some type of a, glass ceiling, barrier, whatever you want to call it. But talk about that type of journey as you've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, as you talk about like glass ceilings or barriers, I mean, I can't tell you a single year in business over the last 16 it's necessarily been easy, but for us, it was somewhere around that like $7 to $8 million mark. It just became like exceedingly difficult. We had the phones were ringing off the hook. We were really like had become particularly like residentially like the provider of choice in our market. And so we had all this work and we didn't really know how to like design it, sell it, and produce it the right way. And so what we did, or what I did, right, as the leader, I like, and at that point, I had all these direct reports. So I just kept adding to my direct report list, and I'm hiring all these people. I'm hiring project managers and account managers and salespeople, and really just like driving up what we call our indirect overhead. And that was it was a really tough year. It was, knock on wood, we've never not been profitable, which I'm really proud to say, but that year it was a fraction of it was a decimal point of, I think it was 0.2%.
Right.
And it was just, man, it was a struggle. And so what it took was bringing in outside advisors to come in and tell us like, hey, here's what a company, your type of company should look like today. And based on like the growth track that, the trajectory that you're predicting, like, here's what you're going to need to do to continue to get there. Because, again, it's like the college dropout who started with the old Jeep Grand Cherokee and my buddy's dad's trailer. Like, nobody gave me a business plan and said, hey, here's what you look like at 1 million, 5, 10, 20, et cetera. So it's been interesting. And, since I think like a lot of us too, since COVID hit, we've experienced exponential growth. And that's put a lot of, it's put a lot of stress on the team as we've tried to like keep the positions filled and keep the team developed to the point where they can really like manage the amount of revenue that we have, going in and out of the doors.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great story. Yeah, because you're right. Because a lot of the time, a lot of those initial years and growth is just through to your hard work and just getting things done. But the fact that you were, again, humble enough to be able to recognize that you needed outside help, and then secondly is actually be able to listen to them and implement some of their ideas, because a lot of people, they get to a certain point of size, they think they're so successful, maybe their ego kicks in, they're not really willing to take on that advice, and then secondly not be able to implement it. So the fact that you were able to listen and learn and implement some of that stuff, I mean, that must have been challenging for you, for people coming in and poking away at your company and telling you to make all these changes.
It was, and I'll do this as kind of an indirect plug for you, but a sincere indirect plug. I mean, there's a few things, right? There's the expense. So, consultants aren't inexpensive. Sometimes, depending on who you talk to about consultants too, you guys may have a poor reputation where they, a lot of people like to say, oh, they're a waste of money, they don't do anything. And so you have the upfront expense. And then I think, just from people I've talked to, I think it can be really easy to not be consistent, right? It's like we hire the consultants, whether it's Robert Klinkenbeard or, ABC Consulting Group, and we expect this like immediate change, right? We want them to come in, give us a report. We want to send them their check, however much money, and then it to all be fixed. And it doesn't work like that, particularly when you're called, $10 million company. Like, might not quite be like turning the Titanic, but it's turning a cruise ship, and that cruise ship doesn't turn on a dime. So I think just to be consistent with it is one of the biggest challenges, right? Is staying on that path and not getting frustrated or.
Yeah, no, I like it. And one of the things we talked about offline was, especially when you're now up at 200 employees, you've got now a lot of weight on your shoulders that, here you are, you're a leader in the company, you're leading all these people, and it's not just the 200 employees, but you're now effectively influencing 400 or 500 people, because now all of their families and a lot of the time they're the main breadwinner coming into the company, and you're expected to come in to be effectively lead all of your employees. You're supposed to come in and you're be inspirational to your team, showing where the company is going. But I've experienced that myself, where you feel that pressure on you, and sometimes you get sucked into all that pressure that you then think, well, why am I doing this? I come in and I just see all these issues in the company and I get stressed. I'm constantly working so many hours that it becomes overwhelming. So how have you almost like taken care of yourself and get a better understanding of your vision and why you're doing this?
Yeah. So, and that's to tie back what we were just talking about offline. If you don't mind me going down that path for a minute. So, yeah, and it's interesting, and I'll say this exactly what I said. It's, we go to work every day, and I think no matter what position we have in any business, like we go to work and we have these certain things that we need to get done, right? If we're an account manager, we have to visit X number of properties and talk to the customers and whatever. If we're a designer, we have to finish up to a certain point on the design. If we're the CEO, we have to, whatever it is, review our dashboard of metrics and meet with a couple of our direct reports, et cetera. And so we have this list of things that we have to do. And one thing I didn't mention is that, most CEOs, I think, in landscape companies, most founders who are CEOs of landscape companies, if they're the founder, they bootstrapped it typically. And so they did everything. And I would like to think that most founders are probably at least decent salespeople, because we had to sell ourselves in to have enough revenue to bring in other people to help. And losing that, today I definitely have interaction with some key clients, et cetera, but I'm not the one getting the signed contract. I'm not the account manager getting to visit my 20 jobs that I need to go to or whatever. And so part of it is I've lost that good feeling, the euphoria, particularly of a sale. And then just kind of for me, I ultimately was kind of caught caught up in the like, yeah, I'm going to work every day and this is my job and this is what I have to do. And I was kind of falling into the trap of what I try to inspire people, my people to not fall into. It's almost hard for me to say knowing that it's going to be like broadcasted because a lot of this, like, I don't necessarily talk to like my team about, but I fell into this mundane feeling, I suppose, of like, why am I doing this? And I know I've had these conversations with some of like my best people on like, why are they doing it? And that's, ultimately like it's my job as a CEO to motivate and inspire these people and remind them of like why they're doing it and why we're doing it. And I think somewhere along the way, I didn't have that person to do that for me. And so I kind of lost it. And one thing I'll take a little bit of credit for is I've historically, I think, been pretty good at looking to others for help, right? That's a big part of how I've gotten to where I've gotten, knowing that I don't know everything. And so I talked to a couple of like really close friends and advisors that I have in business and shared with them how I felt. And ultimately, like through some conversations with them and also just some like time alone by myself, I was able to like kind of be re-inspired in regard to like what this is all about. And what it's all about, Robert, is what you just mentioned. It's not just the 200 people, it's the couple of hundred people that they affect, and then it's also it's the customers and their jobs and the whatever, the public who gets to enjoy some of these public spaces we build. um but really when it all boils down to it, it's really what got me like kind of started on the idea of growth in the first place. And it's offering the people that work for Mullin like something better than they would have than if they were working somewhere else. And it's just, anyway, it's like almost an emotional thing to talk about, because when you think about it, it's like, man, who gets to be in a better position of service than somebody like me, or like when you were running your company, or even with what you're doing right now, somebody like you, like who gets to have, how many people are this fortunate to have so much influence and be able to spread like as much positivity as we can spread. But I think for me, at least, it was easy to kind of lose sight of that. So anyway, today I'm super grateful that I've found that, been reminded of that and been like reinvigorated. And it makes showing up for work a whole lot easier. Not that it was hard, but it's a heck of a lot more fun when I'm having fun.
No, well, I mean, first of all, thank you for being humble, for being transparent with that, because a lot of people, especially founders, CEOs, don't necessarily talk about that. They try and put up that hard front to people, that they're in control, they have it together, and a lot of times that isn't the case. And what I've found through the years is many of those people don't necessarily have that outlet. Because a lot of they're working either so hard, they're working 50, 60, 70 hours in the business. They get home, yes, they maybe have their family, but a lot of the people around them are their friends who don't necessarily have a business. So they're not able to have the conversations, for example, that you have with your advisors or other business owners, to be able to open up to them. So, I think this message is huge. And so, yeah, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I think you're right. I think to be able to step back, have your alone time, to be able to talk to other business owners who've gone through that and almost like reinvent themselves and just find out what are the things, what is their purpose in life, why are they doing that, why are they turning up every day. And yeah, I mean, everybody has their own reasons. So no, I think I do really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I was like I was trying to search like, and you know me pretty well, but the people who know me really well know that like a big part of my life is dedicated to trying to give back and trying to help others. And so I was almost like searching for like, what's the next opportunity? I hate to call it like the next best thing, but what's the next way for me to like help people and make like a really positive impact on the world, or on particularly like the world around me. And it's funny, as it all boiled down, it like became clear to me that like I have that opportunity every single day, right? Like I don't have to look for something else. Not that not that being involved in some nonprofits and other things isn't important, but I think I can like fill that bucket by making sure that I'm doing the right things at Mullin to really like give the people what we're promising that we're going to give them.
No, that's awesome. And I suspect there's probably a handful of people you can think of who maybe started off at a lower level, who are now in a middle senior management position, and the impact you've made on their life and their family's life. I mean, that's huge. I mean, I
Yeah.
heard of stories the other day about how, I think it was Bruce Wilson that mentioned about one of their field employees who's now the GM for their 25, $30 million company. So to see and hear stories like that, I think is truly inspirational. So yeah, that's awesome.
I'll give you a quick one. If I could pull it up my phone quick enough, I would, and I'd put it on the screen. I have a picture. One of our field guys, he was living between two buildings. It was a rolled up like old comforter, some towels or blanket or whatever, rolled up and duct taped. And then it was like cardboard boxes and another blanket on top of him. He lived between these buildings. He was homeless. And anyway, he took care of himself. He got off of drugs. He started working for us almost immediately after. Right, like almost immediately after he was able to pass a drug test. And I want to say he's 5 years with Mullin. He runs what we call a super crew. We have a couple of like really big construction crews that tend to work on like larger projects like Amazon facilities, et cetera. They travel. Anyway, so he's superintendent of one of these super crews, one of the best field employees that we have.
Wow,
Yeah, I mean, he's got a house and a car and the whole 9 yards. And I mean,
that's
he's
awesome.
he's done it for himself. Yeah, I mean, he's done it, but we've given him the opportunity, right? And he's taken advantage of that opportunity,
Yeah,
and it's pretty incredible.
that's awesome. That's like
And yeah,
that's a great
that's
story.
one of many stories, but
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
yeah.
sure. Well, Chase, we're coming up in time here. What any parting messages for some of the listeners on this call? Somebody who's either early in business or there may be $1 million or something. What would be some parting words for some of those people?
I'll give you one that you kind of asked like where I am or where we are. So our thematic goal right now is get back to the basics. We've experienced a lot of revenue growth, which revenue growth is awesome, right? I think a lot of us, we read whatever lawn and landscape or landscape management top 150, and we see these companies that are doing, 10 figures in revenue, or Bright Views that are doing, in the billions. And so we want to chase this revenue. And I think chasing revenue with profit is not necessarily like the worst thing, but I think we also, for us at Mullin, what we've done is we've really kind of tried to recalibrate like what got us to where we are today. And so this year, we don't expect to see a significant growth in revenue. We do expect to see a significant growth in profit, but ultimately we expect to see a significant growth and cleaning up some of these processes that we've somewhat outgrown, and making sure that we're really taking care of our people, that we're really taking care of our customers. And so anyway, the summary of that is I think it's okay to not I was told one time, if you're not growing, you're dying. And no, we're not. We're expecting 5% growth this year, so we are budgeting or expecting some growth, a small amount, but really like we're taking our time this year to try to make sure that we're ready for that next wave of growth. So I think it's okay. Nobody ever told me this, so I hope maybe that somebody will hear it and listen, and it'll positively impact them. Nobody ever told me it was okay to not like experience exponential growth. I thought I had
Right.
to do that.
You had to kill it
So
every year.
that's it. Yeah. So
No,
I
that's
don't know. Maybe I'm just wired that way and I don't always listen, but it took me 16 years to get to where I'm at. I'm telling you, like our team is pumped. I mean, they're working hard on trying to make sure that we are capitalizing on this period of like not taking in, all kinds of crazy new projects. So hopefully this gets us prepared, right? The foundation for the next leap.
no, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminds me of the term. What's the term? It's revenue is for vanity, profitability is for sanity.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I hear a lot of companies doing that this year, just taking a step back almost and just position themselves for future growth and getting all their ducks in a row. So nice job.
Good.
Chase, been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. If people wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I'm really good with email, and I'll put my cell phone number on here if you want me. Text me. Text is a little bit easier than calling, but feel free to call too. My cell phone is 504-575-4464. Like I said, I'm really into serving others, so I mean it. I wouldn't put my number on here if I didn't want people to have it. And my email is Chase, CHASE @mullinlandscape.com. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Chase, pleasure talking to you as always. Thank you for your
Likewise,
time today. I know you're
Robert.
big
Hey,
guy,
have a great day. Thanks again.
Yeah, okay. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hopefully that was pure, dead brilliant for you today, and you got some great takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clinkenbeard, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. So please subscribe through the various podcast channels or visit thecommerciallandscaper.com or brucewilsoncompany.com and check out some more information there. Anyway, hopefully you all have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.